This man right here has some interesting things to say on whatever Channel 7 News this is. I want to just, I know it sounds like, hey, you shouldn't have to say this, but context does matter. We're about to listen to the man that is the president of the United States of America. So often, not me, he is put in the highest of regards among the American people. Again, not me. Fuck that guy. Nonetheless, this man is saying some things that are simply not true still. And he's getting away with it. And he's probably not going to see many consequences for his actions. Let's listen in on what Mr. Joe Byron said about some COVID stuff. Let's listen.
And so everybody talks about freedom and not to have a shot or have a test. Well, guess what? So how about patriotism? How about...
All right, so this is same thing kind of Jim Cramer did in the last video. So now he's trying to appeal to your patriotism, because being a patriot to him, and I've never called myself that anyway, but being a patriot to him is obeying what the government tells you, okay? So he's trying to appeal to that, like you have some sort of moral obligation, ethical obligation to do what he wants you to do regarding getting the jab. So it's bullshit, but I'm just letting you know what he is saying and why he kind of said that just now.
Patriotism. How about making sure that you're vaccinated so you do not spread the disease to anybody else?
Despite all the evidence, all the studies, and even the data that has been analyzed and acknowledged by their own people that work for their own alphabet institutions and agencies, they are still claiming that if you get it, you cannot spread it to other people. It is verifiably false. Now, I want you guys that are watching this, whether you're watching this or listening to this at 4canonsake.com, wherever you listen to your podcast, you're watching this live over at YouTube, you're listening to this segment after the fact on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, wherever you listen to this, put something on your mind here, okay? Do you think that any of those platforms that have been, not all of them have, but a lot of them have been adding tags or taking down videos altogether, do you think they're going to put those medical misinformation tags or removals by way of medical information on this video of what this man said? Of course not. It's because this had nothing to do with medical information, and medical misinformation was just a moniker that basically said you can't say or should not say something that goes against the narrative that they are perpetuating. What he said is medical misinformation or disinformation, whatever way that you want to look at it. Either way, it's fucking false. Yet he said it. This isn't the first time he said it. He said it before. He was saying it in like town halls and all of that, where he would sit there and be like, hey, people that get this aren't catching it, aren't passing it. But we know the CDC director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, as of August 6th, it's come flat out of mouth. She stated, not me, that it does not prevent transmission. She said it's no longer preventing transmission. She referred to the jab. That's what she said. I didn't say it. She said it. Yet still, and it's like what we talked about with we just talked about with Bubba Wallace. I almost called him Bubba Small-Ye, like Juicy Small-Ye. Well, there are these stories that are simply not true, but because they are so committed to the narrative that it kind of validates, they're not gonna stop. And who's gonna stop them, to be fair? Nobody. Because people are still listening to them and eating this up. There's still people going around that are stupid, that think that you can't catch it and can't spread it if you get this jab. And that's simply not true. It's not. You can. You can. They've acknowledged that you can. Studies around the world, scientists around the world have acknowledged that you can. You can catch it and you can spread it. That's not an opinion. That's what they've said. Yet they're still running with this narrative. Some guys like Joe Biden are still running with this narrative. And he's like, what about that?
What's the big deal?
And he says, what's the big deal? Hey, it's just a shot. It's just 2 weeks to slow the spread. What's the big deal? It's just 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks to slow the spread, Patriot. What's the big deal? It's just a lockdown for a little bit. What's the big deal? It's just a lockdown. What's the big deal? Right? Yeah, it's been going on for a fucking year. What's the big deal? It's just a year? It's just a year. What's the big deal of lockdowns? Oh, it's just a mask. What's the big deal? It's just a mask. What's the big deal? Just wear it. You don't even have to think about it. Some leftist podcasters would tell you. You don't even have to think about it. What's the big deal? Oh, it's just a jab. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? This has nothing to do with science and everything to do with allegiance. And that's just what this is. You can get mad at me for acknowledging it or mad at others like myself that have been doing this before. But we're not going to sit here and continue to pretend like all this has everything to do with science when they won't even acknowledge the science. They won't even acknowledge it. They acknowledge a portion of it and then they stop. And then they gaslight you. They tell you what's the fucking big deal when we've been doing this charade for the last year. Going on 2. Almost 2. And yeah, here we are, still, without an ending in sight. Hey, jabs we're going to get on the other side of this. Get the jabs. Oh, well, you got your jabs on the upward of, in some countries, 60, 70, 80, 90% jab rates. Oh, shit. Whoops. Lockdown again. Austria. Lockdown again. Sorry. Whoops. Germany. Whoops. Sorry. More restrictions. I don't know, man. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.